Here's where we're at with this, people. I had someone ask me in an email recently, within a week and a half or so, what is up with all the suicides, the VA-connected veteran deaths, you know? These aren't deaths by the hospital. These are, as far as we know, you know, but it could go there from what I'm finding. Veteran suicides. And even soldier suicides, if you want to go to that side of it, to where there's still active duty. Okay? I don't hear a lot about those, but I've seen umpteen ones on the veterans. Alright? So probably look for this here title in my video when I get that far. And this is what I posted yesterday. Alright? I've been digging around, yes indeed I have. And I will leave links to where I find this stuff. Alright, you remember like a video or two ago. Alright? I was looking into the sex fetish side of it. Showing it's touchy. I realize this. The sexual fetishes that are gleaned from not just the VA, but any hospital. These people derive their pleasure from things at the hospital, going on at the hospital, patients at the hospital that are disabled, that are amputees. They have some very, very sick notions, if you ask me, about what brings them pleasure and happiness in that sexual way, okay? Whether it's their fetish for feces or urine or shiny, people in open back shrouds. The kinks go on and on with the hospital. It's so packed full. It's really hard for me to wrap my mind around. Okay? Even down to the equipment. Of course, you know. Trapezes on the ceiling and Lord God. Can't even imagine. Okay, so I pulled this out yesterday. This little section here. And like I said, I'll link it. In this study, we examined 101 cases of sexual abuse of patients by physicians. For each case, we described case characteristics and identified factors that provide the motive, means, and opportunities for the sexual abuse. Alright, this article was pointing out there are so many physicians that are sexual abusers, rapists, predators. Even that I find hard to wrap my mind around, but then I think about what I'd already read before I got to this article and what I'd already viewed on YouTube. Okay, and it starts to stack up and make sense. Alright, the primary motives in most of the cases appeared indistinguishable from the acts themselves. That is, no motive was apparent other than the performance of the sexual act itself. This is, for example, quite distinct from prescribing opioids for the sake of financial gain or to garner sexual favors. Yet it is also consistent with the determination of motive in criminal law. Now, I can't explain all this, okay? But someone, I'm sure, can. Sexual gratification may count as a motive in sexual assault cases, but we already know a lot of that is about power. Okay? Not gratification. And sexual fetish may count as a motive in other sexual crimes. I'm not even going to attempt to try to explain this because I know that little about it. Alright? This was all new to me when I started, which I've mentioned about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. I put in a great deal of time on this. Alright? Because part of it was just suspicion of mine. Alright? And if you remember the first video or screencast I did about this, about the sex fetishes, then you realize that the way I began that search, sincerely, was when I asked the angels to put what to type in my fingertips. And I asked more than once, you know. So I got up the next morning, and that was at hand, you know, that was on my mind, and that's what I arrived at, okay? So I'll put a link to this, and then I wanted to connect that the opioid suicides at the VA. Okay? There's got to be other things fueling those deaths besides what the person is thinking about or feeling. Alright? You know, whether it's a breakup or whether it's war trauma or, you know, combat trauma, or I believe there's something else back there in the person's head, right? Okay? And what I arrived at yesterday, whether you want to believe it or not, and it doesn't say that in this paper, but I can see it as something that could very easily happen, was that some of these abusive physicians, they are bribing patients. Even if they on the chart say, we're cutting this person's dosage back, you know, they seem to be going a little overboard. They could come back around off paper, you see, off the record. Well, I'll let you have a little bit more if you sexually gratify me. Okay? I didn't bring sexual fetish into it. It was already there. I just had to find out where it was. It was in this article. Alright? There's sexual fetishes. They're manipulative toward these patients who want just to feel good, be happy, you know, be at home with their loved ones. And of course, some of that could even be non-verbally communicated. Of course, that would bring in the notes, the secret notes and the secret blacklisting. Is this person a problem? When I want to get to the part of my day where I want to, as a physician, you see, I'm not the person saying this. It's coming at me. All right. That when it's time for me to get to be happy for my day, and I dredge up this hospital fetish because, hey, I'm here at work, everything's hospital, might as well stay with the theme, right? There could be the non-verbal. I mean, they could pick up some object, you know, they got their stethoscope around their neck or their their ear light or whatever that's called in their pocket, and they could suggestively pull that out and toy with it a second, right? To be suggestive. There's so many things. And these people are drugged, a lot of them to the gills. They're very vulnerable. They might be lonely. Alright? But here are these power-tripping abusers. And I read somewhere, too, that, yeah, their day job pretty much is physician. But then there's play doctors. Of course, with the doctor fetish thing, and they go to the, like, alt-sex boards, discussion boards. Their real day job is doctor, but some of them they have found actually run these fetish boards, because how they're looked at like they're professionals on both levels, as a doctor at their hospital, and then their fun time is to screw with people on the discussion boards and get them all in a tither too. You get where that's coming from? There's so much to this, it's flabbergasting. So, okay, went a little further, looked up grooming. Sexual abuse in medicine. This was an investigation which reported on the grooming behaviors of physician offenders who may test the waters to establish a general atmosphere of forced intimacy and to see if his target will protest. Right? That was written, obviously, by this person named, last name Hart, in 2016. Well, I didn't check that reference, but I'm doing the best I can here, okay? My connection rate a lot of the time is shite. So then I went another one. What is grooming? Grooming is another level of mind control. So that hooks the mind control right up here. Suicide, opioids, sex abuse, mind control, connection. Alright? May as well figure in the sexual fetish with the sex abuse, because, yeah, it goes there, people. It goes there sure as I'm sitting here. Alright? And I don't want to run out of time, but I'll kind of bounce through this. And okay, another level of mind control, and it's so prevalent in our world, we should drill this down a little bit as well. Grooming is a predatory act of maneuvering another individual into a position that makes them more isolated. Okay? Then you got this one down here on eroticized dominance, emotional grooming, predatory behaviors. Some people who had been TIs for years have already known some of this, okay? But I didn't discover what it was called that I was until a few years ago, maybe 7 to 10 years ago, when I lived out in Otterville. That, hey, you're called a TI because of this, that, and the other thing, right? Okay? An emotional groomer skillfully uses some or all of the following tactics: jealousy, possessiveness. He lets her know she is his territory, and that is natural for him to ensure no one else is messing with her mind or body. This reflects an insatiable neediness to be in control, okay? So I'm going to get these links up and hopefully get the word out. I mean, it's out. I'm not pioneering anything here, okay? This is old info. I'm just stating it in a different way. So, well, take it for what you will. Thank you.